A Tree of Wishes. Today was the second Sunday of Advent, and the snowy forest behind the small village looked like something out of a fairy tale. Icicles hung from the trees, and the snow sparkled in the late winter sunlight. In one of the houses on the edge of the forest, little Emma sat by the window with her best friend, a cheeky and curious rabbit named Hoppel. "It's such a shame there are no Christmas lights this year," Emma said thoughtfully. "I wish we had more Christmas magic in the village. Doesn't it feel a little different to you too, Hoppel?" Hoppel, perched on the windowsill watching the snowflakes, nodded as if he understood her words. The little rabbit had a habit of observing everything closely, as though he could explain the whole world. But today even Hoppel seemed more pensive than usual. "Christmas feels different this year," Emma murmured, turning away from the window to glance at the small wooden shelf in the corner of her room. On the shelf stood several little figurines, a wooden nativity scene, some glittering snowflakes, and a tiny carved Christmas tree. She often looked at these things, but something was missing. It felt as though the magic of Christmas was far away this year. "Maybe Santa Claus forgot something," Emma suddenly said with a grin, thinking about the old myth of Santa. "Maybe he missed something, and the whole village will get a big surprise." Hoppel hopped excitedly back and forth as if agreeing with her. Emma laughed. "Yes, you're right, Hoppel. Maybe we're the lucky ones who will witness the greatest Christmas miracle." But just as Emma was lost in her thoughts again, she noticed something strange. A small shiny package lay on the windowsill. It was decorated with golden ribbons and sparkled in the candlelight. "What's this?" Emma asked in surprise, picking up the package. "A present, but where did it come from?" she murmured, inspecting the package. It was so tiny that it seemed almost like a secret. Just as she was about to open it, Hoppel hopped around her feet anxiously, scratching at the floor as if trying to warn her. "What's wrong, Hoppel?" Emma asked, puzzled by her rabbit's nervousness. Hesitantly, she opened the package. To her surprise, she found a small silver bell inside. It was so tiny and delicate that Emma could hardly believe it was real. But engraved on the underside of the bell was something that left her speechless. "For the greatest Christmas miracle." "What does this mean?" Emma wondered aloud. "Who left us this gift?" At that moment, she heard a soft knock at the door. Startled, she turned around. Who could it be? She was certain no one was nearby. Hoppel jumped nervously back and forth. But when Emma opened the door, no one was there, only the gentle wind rustling through the trees. On the ground, however, lay something else, a small card. She bent down to pick it up and read, "The true magic of Christmas isn't what you see, but what you feel. Follow your heart, and you will find it." "A riddle," Emma said, astonished. "What does it mean?" Hoppel hopped excitedly around her, and Emma suddenly felt that something big was about to happen. "What if," she began, then paused. "What if we solve this riddle and discover what this Christmas miracle truly is?" Hoppel jumped up and down as if in agreement. Emma knew she wasn't alone, and so she prepared to uncover the secret of the Christmas miracle. Emma stood with the little silver bell in her hand, staring at the card she had just picked up. Her heart beat faster as she thought about the message. The true magic of Christmas isn't what you see, but what you feel. Follow your heart, and you will find it. "What does it mean?" she asked herself aloud, turning to Hoppel, who was still hopping around excitedly. The rabbit seemed to have no answers either. "Maybe we just need to follow our hearts," Emma said, thinking out loud. She walked to the door and looked outside. The snow was still falling softly, and the forest behind her house was wrapped in a magical silence. The neighbors' lights glowed warmly in the dark, and the entire village seemed to be resting in festive stillness. "But where should we go?" she wondered, looking again at the bell. "What does this gift mean, and why now of all times?" Hoppel jumped onto the window sill and looked outside. Emma joined him and opened the window slightly, letting the crisp winter air in. The fresh, cool breeze made her shiver. Suddenly, she heard a soft giggle coming from the corner of the room. Emma turned around, startled. There was no one there, but the sound seemed to come from the nativity scene. The little figurines on the shelf seemed alive. "Did you hear that, Hoppel?" she whispered. Hoppel, just as excited, hopped toward the shelf. Emma cautiously stepped closer. It was truly strange. The figurines, the tiny stable, the shepherds, and the animals were moving as if they were speaking to each other. She couldn't understand the words, but she felt a warm, comforting energy spreading through the room. "Emma, you must find the right path," one of the figurines suddenly said. It was the little shepherd. "What does that mean?" Emma asked, still amazed that the figures could talk. "Follow the star that shines over the forest." "It will guide you," replied the shepherd, and then the figure returned to its quiet, still pose. "A star?" Emma was confused. "But there's no star over the forest. Or is there?" She walked to the window and looked out into the night. And there, quite unexpectedly, a small bright dot flickered. The star was really there. It shone high in the sky, right above the forest, as if it were waiting for her. "There!" Emma cried. "The star! We must follow it, Hoppel." The rabbit nodded excitedly and jumped out of the window that Emma had opened for him. With a slight smile, Emma slipped into her warm coat, grabbed the bell, and tucked it safely into her pocket. Then she followed Hoppel out into the sparkling wintry forest. The cold night air was fresh and invigorating. The snow beneath her feet crunched softly as they made their way through the forest. The star above them was their only guide. It seemed to shine brighter and closer the farther they went. "I have a feeling we're heading toward something big," Emma whispered as she followed the rabbit's steps. "Something that will change our lives forever." "And what if we get to the place the star is showing us?" Hoppel asked suddenly. It was the first time the rabbit sounded so thoughtful. "What if we discover the greatest Christmas miracle there?" Emma nodded. "Then we'll know the star truly led us." The path wasn't far. Eventually they came to a small clearing surrounded by trees. In the center of the clearing stood an old gnarled tree house that Emma had never seen before. It was surrounded by a warm, golden glow of lights that bathed the whole forest in a magical shine. "That's it," whispered Emma. "We've found it." She approached the tree house and saw that the door was slightly open. A soft glow emanated from within. But just as she took a step closer, she suddenly heard voices. "Will she come?" asked a voice soft as snow. "I hope so," answered another. "She's the only one who can awaken the magic." "The only one?" Emma asked, surprised. "What do you mean?" But before she could learn more, she heard another cheerful voice. "Well, come in. We've been waiting for you." The door opened all on its own, and Emma entered the tree house with Hoppel. They were excited and full of wonder, but they knew they had to follow the magical path that had guided them from the very beginning. As Emma and Hoppel entered the tree house, they were greeted by a warm golden light. The air smelled of pine needles and fresh cookies, and little lights flickered in soft colors all around. Emma immediately felt at home. In the room sat strange but friendly creatures whom Emma immediately grew fond of. They were smaller than humans, with delicate, shimmering wings that sparkled like ice crystals. Their faces radiated peace and joy, and they wore colorful garments that sparkled in the light. "Welcome, Emma," said the first of the beings, with a gentle voice that sounded like a soothing song. She had silver wings and wore a dress that sparkled like the night sky. "We've been waiting for you." "Me? But who are you? What's going on here?" Emma was still surprised, but she felt a strange warmth that gave her the courage to ask more questions. "We are the guardians of the Christmas magic," replied the Silver Fairy. "And you, Emma, have been chosen to complete the magic of Christmas. But you need help. There are still 3 miracles that must happen, and you are the key to them." "I'm the key?" Emma looked around, confused. "What does that mean?" "It means you have a big heart and believe in the good," said another of the fairies. She had golden wings and sparkled like sunlight. "The first 2 miracles have already happened on your path, and the third is waiting to unfold." Emma thought, 2 miracles, what could that mean? She felt like she was in a fairy tale, but she knew she was here to do something important. "You saw the first magic when you followed the star," explained the Silver Fairy. "And you felt the second magic when you stepped into the treehouse. The magic brought you here, and now you will experience the third miracle." "And what must I do?" Emma asked curiously. "You must speak your wish aloud," said a third fairy, who was a little smaller than the others and had lavender-colored wings. "But be careful, Emma. Wishes from the heart are powerful." A wish, Emma thought. It wasn't easy to make a wish that was so meaningful. She felt that this moment was something very special. "I wish for all people and animals on this Christmas night to experience the true miracle, the joy and togetherness," Emma finally said, closing her eyes as she sent her wish into the world. The fairies looked at each other and nodded in approval. "That is a true wish, Emma," said the Silver Fairy. "And now, look outside." Emma opened her eyes and stepped to the window. Outside, the entire forest had been bathed in magical light. The stars in the sky shone brighter than ever, and the snow sparkled like diamonds. But the most surprising thing was that suddenly, animals from the forest and the fields appeared everywhere. Deer, rabbits, birds, and even the little hedgehog Emma had seen before stood outside in the light, looking up. "They have all heard your wish," said the Golden Fairy with a smile. "And now the true magic of Christmas will enter their hearts." Emma marveled, as if the world itself were celebrating with her. The animals had gathered to share this special moment. But that wasn't all. "The 4th miracle," said the Purple Fairy, "will soon come to you. Be patient, Emma, and trust that the true magic of Christmas will always continue." The 4th miracle? Emma felt like there was so much more waiting for her. But she knew that she was in a special time now, a time when everything seemed possible. "But before you go," said the Silver Fairy, handing Emma a small golden sphere, "we want to give you this gift. It will always show you the right way, whenever you need it." Emma took the sphere in her hand and immediately felt a warm, friendly energy emanating from it. It was a wonderful feeling, as if the entire Christmas night was filled with love and hope. "Thank you," Emma whispered, glancing once more at the animals standing outside in the magical glow. Her heart was full of joy, and she knew that the greatest miracle was yet to come. "Never forget, Emma," said the Silver Fairy, "that true magic always resides in your heart. And it will always grow, just like the magic of Christmas." With a smile and a final look at the fairies and the glittering forest, Emma left the treehouse. The star above her shone brighter than ever before. The winter evening had deepened into night, and the snow lay still and peaceful over the forest. Emma stepped out of the treehouse and looked at the animals, who were still gathered in the shimmering light. The animals were quiet, but they radiated a kind of silent joy that touched Emma deeply in her heart. She felt that the magic of Christmas permeated everything that night. "How strange and beautiful all of this is," Emma thought to herself. "I never thought such magic could truly exist." She reached for the golden sphere the fairy had given her, and immediately felt her heart beat in a gentle rhythm. It was as if the sphere would lead her on a journey of discovery. But just as she held the sphere in her hands, she heard a soft rustling behind her. She turned around and saw a small creature approaching her, a tiny, snow-white rabbit with a red scarf and a small basket in hand. The rabbit hopped toward her and looked up at her with big, wise eyes. "Hello, Emma," said the rabbit, in a voice as sweet as the sound of children's laughter. "I'm Flynn. The fairies told me that you need the next miracle, and I'm here to help." "You're here to help me?" Emma asked, looking at the little rabbit in surprise. "What must I do?" "You have the heart of a Christmas magician, Emma," Flynn explained with a joyful gleam in his eyes. "But sometimes even magic needs a little help from a friend. I'll show you the way to the next miracle. Come with me." Emma immediately felt drawn to the little rabbit and followed him as he hopped past her. The snow crunched under her feet, but she felt no cold, as if the magic of the forest was warming her and guiding her through this enchanted night. "The next miracle," Flynn said with a mysterious smile. "It's a gift of love, and you must do something for others without expecting a reward. It's about how you see the world and how you can do something good for the people and animals you love." Emma nodded thoughtfully. She knew what he meant. There were so many people and animals she wanted to help, and yet she sometimes felt so small in comparison to the whole world. But tonight, on this special night, she felt that she could truly make a difference. Flynn led her further into the forest, and the further they went, the more magical the place around them became. The trees gently glowed in all the colors of the rainbow, and the stars above them twinkled brighter than ever. The air was fresh and pure, and Emma breathed it in deeply. Eventually, they reached a small clearing surrounded by tall, snow-covered trees. In the center of the clearing stood an old weathered well, its water still and clear. But what caught Emma's attention most was the beautiful, glowing tree standing beside the well. It was unlike any other tree in the forest. Its branches were adorned with golden lights and sparkling stars, and a soft melody floated through the air. "What kind of tree is that?" Emma asked curiously. "This tree is the tree of wishes," Flynn explained. "It only grants wishes that come from a pure heart. But to activate it, someone must do something truly good. And you, Emma, will be the one to restore its magic." "How can I do that?" Emma asked. "By opening your heart and giving something to another," Flynn said. "Something more than just a gift. Something that shows real love and care. You must truly open your heart to someone else." Emma closed her eyes and thought. She thought of all the animals in the forest, her family and her friends. But then something came to her, a thought that filled her heart. She knew what she had to do. "I know what I can do," Emma said with a smile. She walked to the tree and placed her hand on the trunk. "I want everyone who is alone tonight to feel love and comfort. I want no one to be lonely tonight, because Christmas is the time when we all belong together." In that moment, the lights of the tree began to glow even brighter. A gentle breeze blew through the air, and Emma felt the magic of the tree embrace her wish. It was a feeling of warmth and peace that flowed through her fingers and spread out into the world. "That's the true miracle, Emma," Flynn said, happily approaching her. "You've unlocked the magic of the Christmas tree, and now the magic of love will be felt all over the world." The animals surrounding the tree began to dance joyfully, and Emma too felt a deep joy fill her. It was a moment of perfect harmony. The magic of Christmas, just as it should be, had been shared with the world. "You've accomplished the third miracle," Flynn said, as the lights of the tree slowly faded. "But the true magic is that you will continue to share the love and magic of Christmas." "I know," Emma said, smiling. She now understood that Christmas was not just about gifts and sparkle. It was about giving and sharing love with others, with the world, and with herself. The night was nearly over, and the moon stood high in the sky as Emma bid farewell to the clearing. Flynn, the little rabbit, had accompanied her to the edge of the tree line, and although it was a little sad to leave the magic of the tree behind, Emma knew that it was now time to return home. "This was truly the greatest adventure of my life," she thought to herself, as she walked through the snow-covered forest. The animals she had met on her journey seemed to have found their peace as well. It was as if the whole world had been wrapped in a special spell that night, slipping quietly into the hearts of both humans and animals. But as she reached the edge of the forest, she suddenly stopped. It was a quiet sound that made her halt, a faint whisper, almost like a soft laugh, drifting through the trees. Emma immediately sensed that something else was happening. She turned around and saw the little rabbit, Flynn, stepping out from the shadow of the forest once more. "Emma," Flynn said with a mysterious smile, "there is one last miracle you must perform, and it's the most important one of all." "But I thought I had already experienced all the miracles," Emma said, confused. "What could be left?" "It's about understanding yourself and knowing that you are never truly alone," Flynn explained. "The greatest miracle is trust in yourself and in the love that surrounds you. It's the knowledge that you can always hope for the good in the world, even in the toughest times." Emma thought for a moment. "You mean I should just believe in the good?" "Yes," Flynn said, "but it's more than that. You must recognize your own worth, even when you are alone. Because that's the true magic, the trust in your own strength, and in the good you bring into the world." Emma nodded thoughtfully. She had thought a lot about herself since she had entered this magical forest, and now she understood that it wasn't just the miracles she had experienced, but that the true magic lay within her. And she knew that there was always room for love and hope in the world, even in the darkest moments. "I understand," Emma said at last, looking at Flynn. "The greatest miracle is me." "Exactly," Flynn said, his smile widening. "And now you can go back with this knowledge and share the magic with the world. Because you've found the true secret of Christmas." The first rays of dawn broke through the trees, and the forest began to brighten slowly. Emma felt lighter and stronger than ever, and as she took one step after another toward her home, she knew she was ready to share everything she had learned. The snow glittered in the morning light, and the animals of the forest that Emma had met accompanied her on her way back. She felt a deep inner warmth that she had never known before. "There are so many miracles," she thought, waiting to be discovered,